the concept of this is we're calling this a Maputo Tea Party to symbolize that we've taken a sip of the Maputo tea, right? Okay? So 3, 2, 1, go. Fantastic.
So as I mentioned, one of the most critical and probably most scrutinized articles is around reproductive health and rights, and that's probably the one that pertains to the work of IPPF the most. And it focuses on a number of areas, including control of fertility, the choice of contraception a woman chooses to use, the rights to family planning education, and the responsibility of the state to provide adequate and affordable healthcare, strengthen maternal health, and authorization of medical abortion in specific circumstances. So you can see, if fully implemented, the protocol would really strengthen the rights of women throughout their lives. Tell us why you think it's important for young people to know about the protocol. As someone who doesn't necessarily work in development, but works on content creation, things like that, it would be great to hear your perspective on why it's important for more young people to know about this protocol.
I think it's important for young people to know about the Maputo Protocol because it will help us challenge gender inequality. It will help us advocate for women's rights. And it will also help the young people advocate for inclusion and equitability for everyone. Yeah, for example, during the 2007-2008 post-election, so many people and women went through sexual abuse and gender-based violence, and most of them didn't know where they're supposed to go, what they're supposed to do. So most of them had to deal with it on their own. But there are some 8 women who knew what they needed to do. So they approached some NGOs, and the case actually went to court, to High Court.
It would be really great to hear from you how you view the relevance of the protocol today. What have been the wins, what have been the challenges, and where do we have to go from here?
Because of the protocol, countries have changed their cultures, their ways of even employing people. Access to education itself, women and girls are now able to access education. Although it's quite still a challenge in counties and countries where tradition and culture is still heavily entrenched. But I would want to say that for the past 20 years, they have been a success. If we have this Maputo Protocol in the next 20 years, believe me we're going to have so many men being engaged on issues affecting women and girls, especially reproductive health issues, because it's been one of the problems we've been having in the community.
The protocol has really, supported countries to ensure that women's rights are protected. Our governments are providing equal opportunities for all in the countries, are ensuring that we are doing away with issues such as gender-based violence. We've seen countries also just committing to eradicating gender-based violence. I would want to say, yes, we've had wins, such as in Benin, where we have beautiful progressive laws on access to abortion. In Kenya, we had a landslide win last year in Malindi, where one of our providers had been arrested for providing services, and a young person that was really in need of those services was also arrested. But we are grateful that the advocacy work that the civil societies keep on doing in this room and across the region yielded the results we saw early last year. So thinking that the protocol emboldens us as civil society organizations to continue holding the government accountable. What we've done as a RHK, we've been able to train our providers on gender transformative approaches, especially on provision of abortion services and family planning services, and just appreciating that different sexual orientation will need different services.
Yes, we have challenges, but there are a lot of celebrations that came along with the Maputo Protocol. And I sit here when I see the young faces, the millennials. There is hope. There is hope, and the future is bright because now the real people are taking up the responsibility. In Uganda, following the ratification of the protocol, in 2010, we passed the anti-FGM law, which was a big milestone, protecting young girls who are subjected to harmful practices. Let's target the powerhouses who think that a woman, it is normal to violate a woman. That is what the protocol was dreaming about. The other one is we need evidence. We need evidence of winning stories from other countries.
You are in the space of SRHR and you are doing a great job, by the way. One thing is, what are we not doing right? That's the question, basically. Looking at the policies that we've passed, targeting FGM. Now I'm asking a question of the harmful practices. Targeting FGM, because I come from the Maasai community, and FGM is one thing that is quite high, because in Kajiado County it's still at 78%. You see? So in FGM, when a girl is cut, it's like you telling this particular girl to have sex in the Maasai, because you're already a woman, so you can do what any other woman is doing. So if a girl is cut, she's being denied a lot will happen. She's cut, she will get married off as young as 13, 14 and all that. So what are we not doing right? Because we have seen the policy was passed in 2011, the national policy. And Kajiado County has now localized the policy, and it may launch its own policy in 2019. But it's not being implemented because it doesn't have a budget. Again, government. So what are we not doing right? Because this is a fight that we've been fighting for the longest time.
What do we need to do differently? Like Rachel put it, we need to stop having these meetings in Nairobi. We need to stop having conversations in Nairobi. The real people who suffer these problems, who cannot afford $1. Kenya right now, it's bad. The ones who know that they cannot even go for their refill of family planning, and they go to the next nearby facility by the government and they do not get the supplies and commodities, they can better tell the story. They are in the community.
In an attempt to trouble the heteronormative ordering of the law, we often see how queer people and other sexual and gender minorities are excluded from international law, from regional law, and other legal mechanisms. So my question really is, how relevant is the Maputo Protocol? Fundamentally, how relevant is it to the queer, to the sexual and reproductive rights of queer Africans?
We're told the Maputo Protocol the conversation began in 1995. And at that time, we were not having many conversations specific to the LGBTI community, particularly Qs and lesbians. And so that is not a hindrance, because the essence of human rights is for any human being. So the different facets in which you present yourself as a woman, whether a trans woman, you still have the ability to use this particular protocol to be able to say, this was the intention of this protocol, to protect any human being who then identified as a woman.
As Kenya, we have a reservation on Article 14 of the Maputo Protocol on abortion rights. A lawyer can correct me, but I think that's where we are. So how can we, as civil society, once again, organize towards that? Because the statistics show that young women are really dying of unsafe abortions. It's crazy. So how can we organize on that? And even if they're definitely anti-gender, anti-rights movement, but we still need to keep on fighting and all that.
I've been in this sector for as long as the Maputo story. And I know earlier, especially in Kenya, we are told civil societies were so strong. And we were all over the streets in our jeans and making all the noise. I don't think I see much of that now. We need to talk to each other. We need to move down like Wangari Maathai did with the forest and do something different. Thank you.
Thank you.